Have you ever found yourself in a position where you had to win? I'm talking about you had to win. It wasn't an option. Losing was not an option. It wasn't as if you could just take a loss and move on to the next thing. You had to win this battle. Many of us at different points in our lives, some of you might have been there already, some of you might be there right now, some of you might be there in the future. But at one point in your life or different points in your life, you will find yourself in a battle that you have to win. It's not an option. It's not negotiable. It's not something that you can afford to lose. You have to win. You have to pull it off. Back's against the wall. If I don't do this, it's over. And sometimes the consequences are not just for yourself, but perhaps for your children, your children's children, perhaps for your spouse or the people that you are taking care of. There are people who will be implicated if you don't pull this off. Perhaps it's for the sake of your future. There are those battles that must be won. That's one of the fascinating things about the battle between David and Goliath. We've all heard the story of David and Goliath, but we don't often speak about how important this battle was. We often talk about how Goliath was a giant, David was not so much of a giant, and it's the story of the underdog. It's the story of this young man who just shows up, shows all this courage, and drops a giant. But the story of David and Goliath is deeper than that, because Goliath had to fall. He had to fall. The consequences of not defeating Goliath were too great for David not to pull this off. As a matter of fact, if you go to the story of David and Goliath, you will see that there was an entire army that was afraid of going out to fight Goliath. Goliath said, "Send me any man." Right? The army of Israel could have sent their best man. He said, "Send me any man. Just send anyone so that he would come and fight me." And that's not what happened. Everybody was afraid of going out there. For one, Goliath was a giant, right? He was a strong man. He had been a warrior all his life, pretty much all his life. But secondly, the Bible defines Goliath as a champion. Now, when it says that he's a champion, it doesn't just mean that he was the best of the best, but it also means that Goliath was a decider, right? He was a decider. He would decide the fate of this entire nation. A fight with Goliath would be a fight that decides the fate of the nation. So the Philistines sent out their best man to say, "We trust Goliath to represent us, and we are willing to put our nation on the line, our freedom on the line with Goliath." So that's why Goliath comes out, and when he comes out to fight, he says, "Send me any man who is willing to fight me. And if I defeat him, you will become our subjects. But if he defeats me, then we will become your subjects." So Goliath is challenging them to a deciding fight. This is not just any fight. And every single one of us at one point in our lives, we have such a battle, a deciding battle. A battle that decides the fate of your future, your life, perhaps your children's future. Sometimes you might meet somebody who has been struggling with alcohol, and as they battle their alcoholic addiction, you find that if they defeat this, they can have a good relationship with their children, they can save their marriage, they can save their business, they can save their home, they can save their lives. And if they lose, they could lose their mental health, their physical health, their children, their marriage, their home, their business. So much is on the line with this one battle. Could it be that you are there right now? Have you ever been there? Could it be that the battle that you are in right now is one that you cannot afford to lose? When you find yourself in a position where you have to win, you find a way. Oh, you will find a way. Of course, David had the confidence that I've seen God rescue me before, and I know that God will do it again. So what is your